Hey there, it's Calamity Jane again. I have this really fun project I wanted to show you. You see this here? This is kind of a self-created stamp, and I kind of made just a weird different card out of it. It's more modern. I used the same stamp to create this as I did to create this one. This is actually embossed, and it I think would go really well as like a background for a Halloween stamp card. I'm going to show you how to do these because they're really simple, fast, and fun. So let's start with this right here. I'm not going to show you the whole card, I'm just going to show you this technique. When you first get your stamp set, this one is Feathery Friends, which is, I believe, a host set. Let's open it up. They come like so, and you just have to pop them out, which I already did for you. And there's your stamps. These are the red rubber, these are not the photopolymer. And what you're left with is this. Don't throw these away because you can actually use these. You see these corners? Just kind of cut them off because they will interfere with your stamped image. That'll give you a flat surface when you stamp, okay? So cut those off and then save this because you can actually use these to create your own custom kind of stamps. I'm going to put this one aside. So I've kind of been collecting these up here, as you can see, and I've got some really cool ideas to use these for. So I'm going to put those aside and we're going to use this one here. So what you're going to need for this project is a rubber backing from one of your stamp sets. You're going to need a block. This is probably a good size. This is an E block. E block or bigger is a good size for it. And you're going to need your many marvelous markers or whatever brush markers from Stampin' Up! That you have. The Stampin' Right markers are amazing markers. Okay, and we're going to need, I'm just going to use a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And I'm going to grab just a sheet to put over this to protect. This is my Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to protect that. I like to stamp on that surface. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this on our E block. And it doesn't really matter what way you put it, just stick it on there. And notice it's adhering itself pretty well. Next, we're going to take our markers, and you want the brush side. Stampin' Right markers come in two different sides. We want the brush side. And so you're just randomly going to color in random patterns. Maybe I'll do 3 sections per color. And you can do these in any colors that you like. I'm just going to choose some random ones here. And just color it in really quickly. Because, I don't know, some seasoned stampers know this, but new stampers might not know that you can use your Stampin' Right markers to color right on your rubber stamps to give it some interest and color. It's not just one color when you do this. It's a fun way to do it, and if you don't have every single ink pad color, sometimes this is kind of a way to cheat. So if you get the many marvelous markers, you're kind of cheating if you don't have all of the ink colors. You can't do everything with the markers that you can do with the ink pads, though. That's why it's really good to have the ink pads. You can kind of blend the colors a little bit if you need to, see. And I'm just going to put a few more in here and then we'll be ready to go. Now you might be wondering, well, those markers are going to dry on there. How are they going to ink if they're going to dry up, right? Well, there's a little trick to that. Here, I'm going to put some yellow here. Okay, I think it's ready to go. There's a little trick. You don't have to worry about it drying up because what you do is you breathe on it. Like so. You see my breath is coming through the block there, you can kind of see it. That's going to activate that ink a little bit more, right? It's going to re-moisten it. So it doesn't matter what pattern you put it down, just stamp it down. And see, we've created a little stamp there. See it? All the different colors. So now, we could leave it like that, or we can scrub, and dry on our Stampin' Scrub mat. And now see, it's all ready for the next color. I could do another one of my rubber pieces, or I could do the same one, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to grab the same one. And you can do it another way. You can, another random pattern, just color it in. You could do it, however you want. Be creative.
I see a dog has wanted to join our video.
Well, if dogs had opposable thumbs, they could do this too, but unfortunately they don't. I'm just going to throw in a little bit of color in here randomly. I'm not going to color the whole thing, just for the interest of time. So you don't have to watch me coloring in a whole stamp. I'm going to breathe on it again. And then I'm going to go a different way with it and stamp it another way. Oops, there we go. See, if you keep doing that in different colors or patterns, you can create some really interesting, one-of-a-kind kind of stamp images. And you can use that as a background. You can use it on your scrapbooks. You can use it however you want. Another way to do it, you notice that this one here is kind of boring. If you put this, well, first of all, it won't fit on my E, but if you put this on a block, you're not really going to get much texture to it. So let's come back over here. We're going to take our rubber scissors again, and we can just cut this in random ways. And then we would adhere it. So let's peel off the sticky back. We can just adhere this in random pattern onto our block. So you can get a little Ziploc baggie, or, Stampin' Up! Has those little empty containers that you can store your stamps in, your rubber stamps. You could get one of those and store all your extra little pieces, and then you can make random designs, and you can use this on an ink pad, or you can again color them in with your markers and make an interesting, like almost a broken glass kind of pattern. So that's another idea for you. The last idea I'm going to show you real quick, because I want this to be a quicker video. I'm going to show you a little bit about embossing, because a lot of my customers are new to stamping in the stamping world. They've never embossed before. Embossing is so much fun. So let me show you real quick just how we're going to emboss. We're going to do, for this one, you're going to need basic black cardstock. I'm just going to use a little piece. You're going to need the clear embossing powder. See it? You're going to need, you don't need to have the embossing buddy, but this will keep your powder from getting where you don't want it. We're going to use the white craft ink, which is available in the catalog. And we're going to come back over. We'll use, I guess we'll go back to that same one just because it's ready. So I'm going to use this same one again, stick it on our E-block, okay? And now we're going to ink it up with some white craft ink. And it doesn't have to be completely inked, because if it's not, you'll get some different textures in there. And so we're just going to stamp it again in a kind of a random pattern. And let's peel it off. There we go. We could leave it that way. Maybe you want to do a little bit more. Sometimes I've noticed if you leave the pad a little bit less inked in certain areas, it does have a little bit different texture. So we'll just go stamp it one more time. Okay, see how you can kind of see the background behind it? That looks really awesome. So the next thing we need now, the craft ink can be used to emboss because it's not water-based. It sits on top of the paper, and so you can actually use it to emboss. We're going to take our embossing powder and we're going to sprinkle it all over. And we're just going to kind of cover it up and kind of tap it around a bit so it covers the whole thing. Okay, I like to snap the back of it just to get all the extra powder off. And now I'm just going to take the rest of this powder and pour it back in. Set that aside. We'll close up our lid. Make sure you close this, because if you bump it, that powder's going everywhere and you've lost all your powder. You don't want to do that. Okay, so now we need, this is the powder is sitting on top of the ink. the next thing is we have to heat it up. Now this is my older, this stamp and heat tool is the older one. The newer one is much, much better. You want the new one because it has 2 heat settings. Mine is the old one, it only has 1 heat setting, so, but this is what I have right now. So, we're gonna heat this up. Now watch as the crystals heat up, they're gonna change. They're gonna melt. You see the magic happening right in the corner there? And as I heat this up, you can see it's kind of like magic. It just melts that powder. It melts pretty quickly, and when cut it together. You can see, there it goes, see the magic? And there we go. Just go back over it one more time, make sure it's all melted. Turn your heat tool off. Set it aside, and there we go. Now, isn't that beautiful? Can you see the shine? I don't know if the camera's picking up the shine in it.
I think it is.
But see this, you can feel it. This is now an embossed image. Can you see? So, that is another way that you can use your rubber. So I hope that helped you with some really fun ideas of how to use that rubber, how to recycle, because we don't want to throw stuff away if we can help it, if we can reuse, you know, reduce, recycle. So we're kind of reusing something and recycling it, repurposing our rubber. So don't throw those away. If you would like to purchase any of these products, stampinup.com, and you can order online. My name is H. Jane Harrington. You can choose me as your demonstrator. I'm in Alabama, if that helps you to locate me. And happy stamping. I hope you have a great time with your new technique. See you later.